Good evening. Yogi Adityanath is in the national capital. He's meeting, he met Amit Shah. He's going to meet the Prime Minister tomorrow. He's also expected to meet the party president. But what really is happening? We've got some inside track on what's happening in the Bharatiya Janata Party. Let's quickly take a look. So, Yogi Modi meet. What's really the way out of this UP mess? The information by way of sources, the BJP central leadership is actually worried about leadership in Uttar Pradesh. It is very clear. The central leadership has sourced its information about this, about the situation from several sources, from MPs, MLAs, ministers, the RSS's state leadership, as well as Mr. Dattatreya Hosabale. BJP General Secretary Organization, Mr. BL Santosh, too, had submitted his report. All these reports seem to point at some form of resentment and also inability of Yogi Adityanath in taking everyone along. That's the common sense of all these reports. These reports also say that Yogi is inaccessible to MPs and MLAs from the state, and the mishandling of the COVID wave led to these differences coming out in the open. So that's the point that we've got or gathered as of this moment. All right, so what is the possible compromise formula? Let's tell you that also. Yogi will not be replaced as he is the tallest face in BJP, which is something that we have reported. But the party will majorly course correct within the organization and the government. And that will be with the express authority and approval of the Prime Minister as well. There will be an attempt that will be made to make Yogi cabinet and party, the whole structure, more accommodating, because that was the criticism. Central leadership will press for A.K. Sharma to be inducted in the cabinet. Remember, he's a Modi man. He'll be inducted. BJP will attempt to balance the caste equations within the party organization. There is also a possibility of replacing State President Swatantra Dev Singh, he's an OBC leader, with perhaps a Brahmin face, so that there can be a Brahmin Thakur coordination right at the very top in the state of Uttar Pradesh for the BJP. But Yogi also has a plan of action. Yogi has come with documents to the national capital. Yogi is expected to present his track record to the central leadership. The CM is also carrying names of likely probables for the cabinet expansion. He is also trying to explain or convince the central leadership that no, there was no problem as far as handling of COVID-19 is concerned. The total strength of Yogi's cabinet is 60. Present strength is 42. There are 18 positions vacant. So there will be discussions on how these 18 vacant positions need to be filled. Yogi is also likely to suggest names for changes in the structural organizational structure, and is also likely to press hard for not removing the party chief, Swatantra Dev Singh. So that's really the action plan as far as UP is concerned. Shyam Prakash Jatav, leader of the UP BJP, is with us, and Ghanshyam Tiwari, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Thank you very much. Mr. Jatav, let's begin with you first. Obviously, any attempt to say that there is nothing wrong in the BJP is wrong. Why else will such hectic meetings take place where the Chief Minister is in Delhi and he's trying to convince the central leadership that no, a false perception is being created about me?
किसी तरीके का कोई false perception नहीं है. ये एक उत्तर प्रदेश के मुख्यमंत्री योगी आदित्यनाथ जी जो है वो सभी विषयों पर जो कि पिछले दिनों घटना पेंडेमिक के कारण से, जो कोविड के कारण से भी हुई हैं, उन विषयों पर भी, जो इनके मंत्रिमंडल में जो स्थिति है उसके विस्तार के लिए भी, क्योंकि उसमें चूंकि अभी काफी पोस्टें ऐसी हैं जिसको भरा भी जाना है, इन सब विषयों के ऊपर चर्चा करने के लिए योगी जी जो है वो दिल्ली आए हुए हैं. इस पर गहन चर्चा पिछले काफी दिनों से चल भी रही थी, और वही उसी के अब चूंकि उसके क्रियान्वयन का समय है, तो अमित शाह जी चूंकि पहले राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष भी रह चुके हैं और वो सब चीजों को समझते भी हैं, तो आज उनके साथ में बैठक, और उसके बाद में कल प्रधानमंत्री जी और फिर राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष आदरणीय जेपी नड्डा जी के साथ में.
नहीं, देखिए जाटव जी, ऐसा है, ऑन द फेस ऑफ इट आई कैन, whatever you are saying is correct, but to say that there is absolutely no problem is not correct. There are reports after reports in possession of the central leadership of the BJP that suggests that Yogi Adityanath had an autocratic style of functioning, that Yogi Adityanath was not he was inaccessible for MPs and MLAs and ministers. This has been a problem on the ground. We'll try coming back to Mr. Jatav in just a short moment. But Mr. Tiwari, how would you respond to this? Do you think that this is an attempt to make a belated course correction or a damage control? And how successful do you think the BJP will be?
I'm sorry that the voice is not audible fully, but I understand the gist of the debate. I would say three things. One is that Uttar Pradesh is a picture perfect of a bad leader and perfectly bad governance in a state of constant crisis. Bad from the point of view of how the journalists were terrorized, civil society has been terrorized, the harmony has been disrupted almost as a mission of statecraft by Adityanath. Second, that this whole idea of who's the tall leader in Uttar Pradesh, for a while they said that Uttar Pradesh mein rehna hoga, yogi kehna hoga. Now they are saying the same thing to one another. Adityanath saying to Modi that Uttar Pradesh mein rehna hoga to yogi kehna hoga, and Modi saying to Adityanath that Uttar Pradesh mein rehna hoga to Modi kehna hoga. This is not a battle of governance mission. This is a battle of pure ego. You can see that on BJP's Twitter handle, the nara, the slogan of Mr. Modi is there, but his image has gone. So they just don't steal ideas from Samajwadi Party and make them their own ideas. They are now beginning to steal with one another. The party that went to town to start speaking about Shamshan and Kabristan as a poll promise now has given exactly that to Uttar Pradesh. They have fudged data. They have set the propaganda in a way that the news about real death.
No, but then Mr. Tiwari, see, look at it this way. If they've realized and they're doing their damage control or course correction, don't you think that this will create some sort of this will be a big challenge for you? If they set their house in order now, they'll be fighting fit for the elections, which is a problem for you.
The way Mr. Modi said Didi, oh Didi in Bengal, he is doing the same to Yogi, oh Yogi in Uttar Pradesh. They don't have a common vision for Uttar Pradesh. Now, Yogi Adityanath wants Uttar Pradesh to go to election under his brand, which is basically the brand of terrorizing and bad governance. And Mr. Modi knows that he as Prime Minister would not allow such a brand to sully his own image. So clearly they're caught in the middle where there is bad performance visible to everyone. The number of deaths that has happened in Uttar Pradesh has been misreported. It is the floating bodies that told the world what is the situation in Uttar Pradesh. The panchayat elections tell the story. The ego tussle is visible, with several ministers and several MLAs have spoken openly against Adityanath.
Okay.
So Adityanath does not enjoy leadership, and Mr. Modi does not enjoy leadership in the eye of Adityanath.
Okay, one moment, Mr. Jatav, I want to come back to you. Jatav जी, देखिए, मैं आपसे ये जानना चाहता हूँ. अब योगी आदित्यनाथ हटाए नहीं जाएंगे, ये तो स्पष्ट हो गया है. This is very clear from the central leadership. After all these meetings, he's not going anywhere. He's a tall leader, right? Created by the BJP, a very tall leader, and there is no replacement. But apart from that, whether it is structural, the organization structure, संगठन है, उसकी बात या सरकार की बात, उस सब में अब केंद्रीय नेतृत्व की एक छाप होगी. यानी योगी को नहीं बदल सकते तो उनके नीचे सब कुछ बदल दो.
नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है कि जो है बहुत बड़ा आमूलचूल परिवर्तन होने जा रहा है. इस पर बहुत ज्यादा हमें वो करने का कोई लाभ नहीं है. इसमें जो योजनाएं, जो वैकेंट सीट हैं, जो वैकेंट जो मंत्रिमंडल में जो जगह हैं, उन्हीं को भरा जाएगा. और
व्हाट अबाउट द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन स्ट्रक्चर
हो रहा है.
संस्था की बात नहीं, मेरा ये कहना है कि जो आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, बीजेपी पार्टी यूनिट, उसमें फेरबदल नहीं होगा.
उसमें भी कोई आवश्यकता ही नहीं है फेरबदल की. बहुत बढ़िया काम चल रहा है, और कहीं है भी आवश्यकता तो एक आध दो नाम कुछ नए जो लोगों को उसमें जोड़ा जा सकता है. ऐसा कोई नहीं है कि बहुत बड़ा
you tell me
होने जा रहा है.
एक जो ये छवि बनी है आपकी पार्टी के बारे में कि यू आर एंटी ब्राह्मण, आपको नहीं लगता है that there is an attempt being made to course correct?
भारतीय जनता पार्टी जाति और धर्म के नाम पर चुनाव नहीं लड़ती है, विकास के नाम पर लड़ती है, डेवलपमेंट के नाम पर लड़ती है.
अब ये कौन मानेगा जाटव जी?
भारतीय जनता पार्टी का एक कार्यकर्ता जो है वो सभी धर्म और जाति वर्ग से जुड़ा हुआ है, और वो लोग जमीन पर काम करते हैं, लोगों को जमीन पर जोड़ने का काम जो है.
Then tell me what is this equation of having Yogi Adityanath as the chief minister, flanked by two deputy chief ministers who represent certain communities?
तो क्या हुआ? वो दोनों अलग अलग कम्युनिटी से हैं. एक क्या नाम है, ब्राह्मण समाज से हैं, एक ओबीसी वर्ग से हैं, तो इसमें ठीक है, पूरा समतुल्य है। और
फिर आप कहते हैं कि हम लोग जाति से ऊपर है, नहीं है ना?
समाज से हैं, वो ओबीसी हैं। स्वतंत्र देव सिंह जी एकदम जो है समीकरण, एकदम जातीय समीकरण को भी अगर देखें तो वो भी, मगर मैं फिर भी आपको एक ही बात कहूंगा कि ये विकास के नाम पर चुनाव होता है, काम के आधार पर चुनाव होता है।
ओके, मिस्टर तिवारी, would you buy that argument?
Well, if the specter of death in Uttar Pradesh is to be seen, the kind of complete failure, this administration said in June that they will provide 1 crore jobs. 1 crore jobs. Where are those 1 crore jobs? They went. They did not.
में हर एक प्रदेश में हुआ है।
आपके बीच में, आपके वाक्य के बीच में नहीं बोला था। When you were speaking, I did not speak.
बात को बोल देता हूँ, आप बोल देना मेरे बात में। क्या मुझे ये बताएं, क्या मध्य प्रदेश में, राजस्थान में या और अन्य प्रदेशों में क्या पेंडेमिक के कारण से मौतें नहीं हुई? क्या सभी मुख्यमंत्री दिल्ली में आकर के चर्चा कर रहे हैं? ऐसा नहीं है।
Let me respond.
ये भ्रम करना कि वो
I'll tell you what the difference is. जाटव जी, बस एक चीज है, no state, everybody has been found wanting as far as handling of the COVID crisis is concerned. There's only one difference between other states and UP. UP is going to polls. Will you or will you not agree? You will have an immediate electoral impact in UP.
Sanket, that is not the only difference. More than 1,600 teachers have died in Uttar Pradesh. This administration denied their death. There is no end to differences. They put journalists in jail for telling the truth. They put people in civil society for telling the truth. The chief minister openly creates a specter where minorities live in fear. They have not fulfilled a single promise. They came to power on the back of Shamshan and Hindustan and has given exactly that to the state. There is not a single agenda of governance that Mr. Modi holds for Uttar Pradesh or Mr. Yogi holds for Uttar Pradesh.
Okay, one by one, please. Yes, Mr. Jatav.
कोविड के ऊपर राजनीति कर रही है। अरे बहुत काम है, बहुत विषय है, उन पर राजनीति कर रहे हैं। कोविड पर राजनीति कर रहे हैं, दुर्भाग्य है।
अच्छा, बहुत विषय, मतलब आपने जून में कहा था कि 1 करोड़ नौकरियां देंगे। आप लिस्ट बताइए कहां 1 करोड़ नौकरियां दी? झूठ और पाखंड पर धर्म और जाति की राजनीति करने वाली पार्टी हमें कह रही है कि दुर्भाग्य है। आप लाशें छुपाते हैं, कहते हैं कि परंपरा है इस देश की गंगा में लाशें बहाई जाती है। आप कहते हैं परंपरा इस देश की लाशों को रेत में दबाया जाता है, और आप हमें लेक्चर दे रहे हैं कि हम कर रहे हैं।
मिस्टर तिवारी, यू मेड योर पॉइंट।
को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हैं वो तो पारिवारिक पार्टी है। समाजवादी पार्टी के नाम पर आप परिवारवादी पार्टी चला रहे हैं और बात कर रहे हैं कि जो है ना वो समाज की बात करें।
हम दंगावादी पार्टी तो नहीं है। आप जिस पार्टी को चला रहे हैं वो जिस तरीके की भाषा बोलती है, जिस तरह के दंगों को जन्म देती है।
You know, we have 6 months for this conversation to go on as we build up to the state elections. Thank you very much, Mr. Jatav, as well as Mr. Tiwari.